Good Shabbos, happy Hanukkah. We are now the last few hours of the holy holiday of Hanukkah. Today is the 8th day, amazing energy. So I'd like to share with you three actually very powerful stories. Two of them I personally heard from the people that went through it. One of them was from Mr. Labovitz. His son lives here in our community. So Mr. Labovitz shared with me a story that happened to him when he was in Auschwitz. He was a 15-year-old boy. And he described the horror and the terror that him and his family went through, and he lost many family members. And then he described to me a very inspiring moment. It came close to the holiday of Hanukkah, and he was thinking he wants to light the menorah, but there's no menorahs to light. You obviously can't go to the guards and say, when you make an order on Amazon, please order candles for me. But really wanted to light the menorah so badly. So on Hanukkah, he went into the woods and he took a branch and he broke it into 8 little pieces. And he put each one of the pieces in the snow and he lit the branches because he wanted so badly to light the menorah. A few years ago, I was talking to another individual who was a Holocaust survivor, and he described to me how his horror and terror that he was going through in his concentration camp. And then he shares with me, he says, one of the things you learn going through the Holocaust is there's certain items that you can't leave your house without. And one of them is Vaseline. So he says that it came Hanukkah, and I think he was saying, I'm trying to remember now, he was saying it was during the Death March, or they were marching somewhere. And one guy realized tonight is Hanukkah, so he took out this little Vaseline tube, and the top of the tube it has a hole, and he stuck a match in and put it into the ground, and he started dancing. Ma'asur Yeshuasi. Third story I read about a Bluzhever Rebbe. That it came in the night of Hanukkah, he had a whole story, how they got a candle, and there was a group of Jews who were in Auschwitz, and they got together in their bunker, and they wanted to light the menorah. And obviously, if a Nazi Machshemai comes in, they're going to kill you. But they wanted it so badly. And the rabbi gets up and he makes the first blessing, Baruch Atah Ad Hashem. And then he makes his second blessing, Sha'asa Nisim Lavel Seinu. And then he has to start making the third blessing on the first night, the Shechianu. And he pauses. He pauses for a few minutes. And then with tears in his eyes and a smile on his face, he said the third blessing. And then he explained afterwards. After I finished the first 2 blessings, I was about to start the third blessing, I paused. The reason I paused, I says, how can I make such a blessing? The third blessing that we make, Shechiyanu V'Kimanu, means you give thanks to God that you're healthy and well, and you made it to this day. It says, how could I thank God that I'm healthy and well, that I made it to this day, if people are dying all around there? What am I thankful that I'm in a place where there's death? I'm thankful that I'm in a place like this. But then when I looked around the room and I saw, wow, I'm witnessing a day where there's a group of Jewish people, in spite of living in the darkest hell of the world has ever seen, in spite of them losing their families and all being killed in the gas chambers and other torturous ways, these group of Jewish people are getting together and wanting to celebrate Hanukkah and connecting to God. I'm thankful that I made it to this day to witness such a thing. What is it about these 3 stories? A lot of people feel that Hanukkah, the reason why we celebrate Hanukkah and it became so powerful, because it's up against other holidays. But the truth is, Hanukkah is a very deep and important holiday for the Jewish people, and that's where we find Jews, no matter where they are, always want to celebrate Hanukkah, because what was the story of Hanukkah? The Syrian Greeks wanted to stop the Jewish people from practicing Judaism that's connected to God. They said, Jews, if you want to keep Shabbos and keep kosher, it's fine, but we don't want it to have anything to do with God. And they tried to take that away. And then we went into the temple after the great miracle of winning the war, and we found this little bit of oil, and it lasted 8 days. But the oil and the candles doesn't just represent the miracle that oil lasted for 8 days, but it represents something deeper. It represents something deeper for us as Jewish people. It represents that in spite of the darkest places you may be, that connection that we have to God, that connection that we have to our tradition, that connection that we have with our Torah mitzvahs, we will never let anyone take that away from us, even the most difficult times. So I think these three stories that I shared with you today bring out some very important messages. And it gives us also inspiration for us. The number one it teaches us is never to give up. Never give up. Here these people were in the most difficult situations, that I could find a way that I could practice my religion and be connected to God. So it's an important message for us, no matter what situation we may be in, we should never give up. The second thing is, it's in your mind. A lot of times the person says, well, I can't do A, I can't do B, because I have such hard life, so many difficulties, challenges, COVID, whatever it may be. You know what? If you set your mind to do something, you could get it done. Here there were some young people facing the most dangerous thing, but they wanted to light the menorah. They found a way to get it done. And this teaches us such an important message in our life. And the third thing is, nobody can take anything away from you. One thing that you always have is what's in your mind, and that you always control. We have been through ourselves a very difficult, challenging year with COVID, and many families have lost loved ones, people have gotten sick, businesses and other things. But remember, we can learn from the generations before. We can learn from Hanukkah that in spite of any darkness, any challenge that we may have, we have the strength and the responsibility to always remain connected to God, to always continue our mission, to always fulfill our purpose and our mission in life. Nothing and nobody could take it away from us as long as we decide that this is important and we're going to accomplish our mission. May God bless everyone, that the energy of the 8th day of Hanukkah should bring light into your life, that we could illuminate every part of our life, that we could have that dedication and commitment like the Jews had in Hanukkah and the Jews had 80 years ago and the Jewish people have now on Hanukkah. That dedication should always remain with us, and we should always have light and holiness and godliness in every situation in our life. Shabbat Shalom, Happy Hanukkah, and God bless you all.